Welcome to my next final chapter video. This is the series where I want to read all the series that I've started over the last probably 15 years and never finished. I try to continue them and finish or DNF them in these vlogs. And we are now on episode 11. We left episode 10 of the series with 33 series to continue, and in the meantime, we had a new release, which is Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is the third and final book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, and I want to read this in this vlog, but not as first book. But this makes now 34 series that I need to continue, and this is already a tradition at this point. I will also start a new series in this vlog, so stay tuned for that. But hopefully I can also finish one or two series. We will see, so let's start. And the first book I'm reading in this vlog is a book that I wanted to read now for a few months. So now it's the time to really read Heartless Sky, the seventh book in the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. I've started this book, I think, 2 months ago, and I'm really trying to read it, not because the book is bad, but because I don't want the things to happen that will happen at the end of Heartless Sky. So I'm really taking my time. But I am now halfway through this chunky book, and I can say I'm really liking it. I like the change of relationships and dynamics in this book between the characters. As I said, I'm scared of the things that will happen at the end of this book. I don't need to read the end to know these things will happen. I just needed to read the end of book 6 to know that, and the title of the next two books. So make with that information what you want. I really like that all our favorite characters are uniting now to fight against Lionel, this asshole. I hate him so much and can't wait to finish the story, and hopefully this story will also finish Lionel. We will see about that. I was surprised about a few things that are happening here, especially the parts with Xavier and the whole thruple topic incoming. Super interesting, super intriguing. Also, the piercings he had made now. I have not expected that. And I have my fingers crossed now, especially for Darcy and the curse. I hope they can break the curse in book 7. And I really hope they can do something for Lance, because it is so annoying that he is ignored by everyone. So my fingers are crossed that they can integrate him back into society. And I really hope for the whole plot of the series that they can find a way for Tori and Darius to be together, because they both earn a happy end. I beg these authors to give them this happy end. So we will see about that. And I will talk to you after I've finished the book. After 2.5 months now, I finally finished Heartless Sky, or should I say, this book finished me, because that is the case, and I knew this would happen. I was prepared for some of the events in the end of this book, especially in the last 60 pages, I would say. But this was so much worse than I thought. I should have expected that because these authors like to traumatize their readers. And please forbid that we think, oh, it can't get worse than this. Because every time I had this thought, it was like the author said, oh, you think that? Watch now, we can make it worse. So they did that again and again. It was so devastating, so sad. And even if I prepared for the worst, this was much worse than I thought. And I know why I've waited so long to finish this book, because I have now two thick bricks left in the series and a bigger novella. And with 2.5 books left, with in total around 2,500 pages, there is still a lot of place left to let this character suffer, to traumatize them more than they already are. And I know Susan Valenti and Caroline Peckham will do that because they have fun with that. I appreciate that as an author myself, but as a reader, I just want my characters to be happy, to have their happy end. And at this point, I don't even know if that's possible for each of these characters. Fingers are crossed for me, because even if it seems impossible right now, some of the things that happened in this book or in the book before also seemed impossible, and the characters found a way to break this barrier. So I still have my hopes up and will start book 8 and 8.5 now as a tandem read. So book 8, Sorrow and Starlight, and book 8.5, Beyond the Veil. This is the guide I found a while ago on TikTok and screenshotted for me. So wish me luck for that. I don't know if I will talk to you about book 8 and 8.5 in this video, because I fear I will drag this out. I will take my time with it. So we will see if they get another mention in this video or not. But for now, I will switch to the next book and the next series. Update time. I've started Blood of Hercules, the first book in the Villains of Lore series. I have this wonderful edition, and I am now halfway through the book, so it is time to tell you about it. This is a story inspired by the Greek mythology, and I say inspired by it intentionally because this story is set in the future and with the characters from the Greek mythology, but in a totally new context. So, in this world, we are having the humans completely normal. We are having the Spartans, which are a bit godlike because they are immortal and they are having powers. The Spartans are split into two parties: the Olympians, so the families with good powers, and we are having the Stonic, which are the Spartans with dangerous powers, so powers that can kill. And then we are having the Titans. These are the bad guys that need to be fighted because they want to destroy the earth, want to kill the Spartans and the humans. So the Stonics are now there to fight and kill the Titans, but also the Stonics are called monsters between the Olympians. The humans are worth nothing for the Spartans in general, and the whole world is in shambles. So we have quite a dystopian setting mixed with a lot of fantasy elements. Because in between all of that, we have Alexis, our female main character. She grows up under very difficult circumstances. She got adopted by not very good humans. And after her 18th birthday, she participates in a test to get access to university. But this test revealed so that she is not human, or at least not full human, that she is at least half Spartan, which means the Spartans pick her up immediately, throw her in a challenge about life and death, where she needs to find other Spartan heirs and half Spartans. And there we get to the point where I don't understand the world building, because we get told in this story again and again that the Spartans have problems to get children, especially Stonic children that can fight against the Titans. And despite of that, there is a fight for each and every single heir they can find for life and death, and only 10 of them will success in this challenge and stay alive. Excuse me, this makes no sense. And it also makes no sense to me that these 10 people that are staying alive will go to an academy where the whole learning experience is torture. I mean, why do you want to break all the children you have left? I know they need to grow stronger to fight against the Titans, to stay alive, to earn immortality. I understand that, but this way is not the right in my opinion. And the only thing I knew, despite of that, about the story is that this is a why choose romance. I am now halfway in and I don't see a romance at all. I mean, I see the characters, I see the plot that is supposed to lead to the why choose, but so far there is no tension, no banter, nothing that I can recall romantic. So I'm a little bit confused by that. I mean, I know this is a series, so it can be very, very slow burn, but I really expected at least some tension and romantic feelings in book one, or at least some lust and spice. Maybe I will get this in the second half. We will see. And I will definitely update you on that in my next clip. And I'm back again with Blood of Hercules, and earlier than expected, because 3 quarters in, I DNF'd the book now. I couldn't vibe with the story. I realized that in the last few chapters that I've read in this, the mix of the tone in the writing, which was light and a bit comical, and the very, very cruel and violent plot with torture and death wasn't for me. This didn't fit together to me personally, and I don't even get why this plot is so cruel and violent, why they let their children suffer and torture like this, when at the same time these Spartans struggle to get children. And also, I didn't feel the romance so far. There wasn't a lot of that in the first 3 quarters of this book. And I know this is a series. Book 2 will be out in the end of October. And I don't know how many books this series will have. But as I said, this was not for me. And this is okay. My buddy read partner also DNF'd. So this means I've finished now a series from my list that I've started in this video, but nonetheless I've finished it now and I can move on now to the next series. We have a surprise book for this vlog because it is a book that was not on my TBR, not for August, not for September, but I was in the mood for it, so I started it. And bonus points to that because with this book I will finish a whole series. And also, this is the oldest book on my TBR. So it is from 2015, 10 years unread, and I'm changing this now. It is a German romantic suspense book by a German author, but it is set in the USA. This is now book 5 out of 5. I've read the first 4 books years and years ago, so before 2015. And with the 5th book in the series, I can not only finish the series, I can also see if I still like these books and the series because the first 4 books are still on my shelf. And book 5 decides now their fate if this whole series will stay or if they need to go. There are 2 more novellas after this book that I could read, but I don't plan on doing that. This is the only book left on my TBR, and it finishes the series for me. I don't need the extra novellas. And each and every single one of these books is about one member of the Hunter family. They get in trouble for the suspense part, they get in love for the romance part. And in this book, we have now Chloe Hunter, the last one of the siblings that need to fall in love. She lives in New York. She is a public defender. And on the wedding of one of her brothers years and years ago, she met Zack Murdoch. Zack Murdoch was already in book 1 and was part of this story. He is a detective in New York and helped the female main character of book 1 when she was stalked. And the twist in that, he was in love with the female main character of book 1 for years. And only now he starts to get over it the moment he meets Chloe again in the present timeline. But they don't meet under good circumstances because she is the public defender for a man that is probably a murderer. Or so Zack and his colleagues think, because Chloe finds a lot of hints that he can't be the murderer of Candace, that someone else had to murder her. So she fights for her client, fights for the right thing, even if the police is not very happy about that. But this also means we have the suspense and romance parts both right from the beginning. There is a lot of tension in the romance and the suspense part. I am invested in that. It is the best book of the year. No, you can really tell that this book is over 10 years old. There is a lot of alpha male behavior that is considered red flag now in 2025, but I can live with that. As you might can tell with me telling about the book, I've already started it and am halfway through the story already, and I really enjoy reading the book. So far, I can't tell if I will keep the series or if I will unhaul them. So stay tuned. I will probably tell you after I've finished the book. And I will go reading now because I will find out when they will catch the real murderer and will bring them to justice. I have finished this romantic suspense book, Späte Vergeltung, the last book in the Hunter series by Michelle Raven, a German author. And surprisingly, this wasn't as bad as I suspected. In total, I found this story really, really entertaining. It wasn't super good. It had alpha male behavior, which I don't like that much. But I liked the romance in this book. I liked the suspense part of the story and was really interested, especially in the suspense part and how they get this killer in the end. We also saw a few characters from the prior books in the series and even from other series of the author, which I always appreciate. I like these Easter eggs. And all in all, I really had a good time with it. Before I started this book, I was so sure that I will unhaul the whole series after I've read this book. But now I think I will keep it. As I said, it wasn't the best series of all times, but it was entertaining and I enjoyed reading it. So maybe I will do a reread of the first four books or the whole series at some point because I know I liked some of these stories really, really much back then when I read them the first time. So over 10 years ago, and I am curious to see if I still like them. I don't know when I have the time to do this reread. Probably not in the near future, but I don't give my hopes up that I can do it at one point in my life. But for now, it is one series less on my list of series I need to continue, and that is always a win. So let's see what I will read next. Here we are again with the new release that got published in August. Love Arranged by Lauren Escher, the third book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. And my expectations for this book, not that high because I didn't like Lorenzo in the first two books. So I didn't know if I would like him as a main character now in book three, but so far, a little bit over 50% into the story, I am really liking him, and his OCD and trauma of losing his parents explains a lot of his behavior. He is very rational, very non emotional, and more based on logic because he lost the persons he loved, the persons that were most important to him as a kid. And now he has this big fear of losing persons again if he lets them close to him, which is why he shoved Lily away. They wrote on a dating app, but Lorenzo had the intention to find a fake wife or a fake partner. He candidates as mayor for this small town, and as the man he is now, he don't has the best chances to win this election, but he wants to win against the other candidate because the other candidate is from the family that runs for mayor for generations now, and the family that is somehow involved in the car accident where his parents died. So he wants revenge now. And on this dating app, he wrote with Lily without knowing it is Lily. He developed feelings for her, and the first time they met, they also kissed. And this was the moment he realized he can't do this fake relationship with her, because with her it wouldn't be fake, feelings would be involved, and that triggered his trauma and OCD, and he couldn't do that. But now, 1 year later, he has no other chance, and she agrees to be his fake girlfriend because she also wants him to win. Because now she also has problems with the Mayer family. They want to buy the flower shop from her mother, one of the only places she has left from her father that died years before. And she wants to do everything to keep the flower shop, including fake dating Lorenzo. But is it fake dating if from both sides feelings are involved? If they like each other, if they act like they like each other, even if they say something different? That is the question here. I know Lorenzo will not win the prize for the most lovable or likable character, but I can understand him. I like him now. To get more of his thoughts and his POVs really helped to understand him. And I also really like the stubborn Lily. She doesn't give up easily. Not on this fake relationship, not on Lorenzo, and not on the flower shop from her mother. And the whole town is shipping now, both of them, except the family of the mayor and except Lily's family. They have a pretty hard time believing that they dated for 1 year. They don't know that this is a fake relationship. And as we know, Rafa and Julian hate Lorenzo. So, especially Julian has now a hard time accepting this relationship. But for Julian and Lorenzo, I especially liked the last chapter I've read last night, which was chapter 28. The audiobook says I have now 4 hours and 20 minutes left. We have now almost 3 p.m. on the last day of August, and I want to try to finish the book today. So, wish me luck, and I will see you when I finish the book. I have finished now Love Arranged by Lauren Escher, and I like the story about Lorenzo and Lily. I like that we mostly had open communication between the characters. I like the banter and tension between them. I like that from the beginning it was pretty much clear that they had feelings for each other, even in the fake relationship stage. I like how Lorenzo learned to open up, to trust each other, to realize that he is able to love someone and that he is allowed to love someone else. He is really traumatized by the death of his parents and how his uncle treated him afterwards when he grew up. I also love that Lily is super supportive on every step of this way. She's always there for him, but she also sets barriers for herself to protect herself, which I really appreciate. I think that shows that she's a really strong character. But the one thing I didn't like for the story was the third act breakup. Completely unnecessary, in my opinion. If Lorenzo simply would have told Lily what's going on and why he made a certain decision, This was another good example for me why I don't like third act breakups, because most of the time they are unnecessary, because the reason for it is simply miscommunication or no communication. So just open up, just trust each other. You can do this, you can talk about it. You don't need to break up with each other. But all in all, I liked where these two characters ended. I liked where the whole series ended. I liked the importance of family in this whole series and the whole small town setting. I liked that these were billionaire romances, but not the typical ones, at least in my opinion. So I'm really glad that I've read Lorenzo and Lily's story, and I really liked Lorenzo in the end, even if I've struggled with him in the first two books. This book explained a lot about him and made me realize I like this guy. So I'm really happy that I've read it and that with that I finished now another series. And I have now one book left for this vlog. It will be the start of a new series. And I've already started this book on Monday. We have now Friday, and I am halfway through Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry. It is my first buddy read in September, and I really had super high hopes for this book. But again, as with Blood of Hercules, I am disappointed. It is okay so far, but the whole explanation of the world building is not good. Me and my buddy read partners have a lot of questions for simple things that are simply not explained in the book. Our main character, Odessa, is very passive in the first half of the story. She is part of the team. She runs with the flow, but other persons are making the decisions, and most of the time she simply does nothing. She just participates, and that is not the plot that I want to read. Hopefully, this will change in the second half. I have my hopes there that she does more spying, that she learns to defend herself, that she learns to fight, that she learns to trust the Guardian and Xavier, because I really hope we have a plot here like in A Court of Thorns and Roses, or like in the Plated Prisoner series. My fingers are crossed for this, and my buddy read partners and I have a lot of theories what could happen in the second half or in the whole series. We'll see if we are right with these theories or not, but so far it is very mid, and we all hope that the second half will be better. I will continue reading now, and I will speak to you after I finished the book. I have finished now Shield of Sparrows and am completely surprised, because now I can't wait to continue the series. The first half was very mid, and at some point I did consider if it was better to DNF Shield of Sparrows, but the second half was completely worth it. Was it the best book ever? No. But I really liked the plot twists in the end of book one. I was surprised by it. There were things happening that I didn't even consider before. And I'm still a little bit shocked by the ending of this story, or the ending of book one, because I'm hanging on that cliff of the cliffhanger for real. the flabber is gasted. I am still shocked and don't know what to say to this end, especially the last chapter. As you know, I read this as a buddy read with two of my friends, and both of them had the same feelings for the story. All in all, it wasn't the best writing, it wasn't the best character development, it wasn't the best plot, especially for the world building because things weren't that clear. But the end of this story made it completely worth it, especially the last 50 to 60 pages. So, the last 10% of the book. A lot of things that should have been shocking weren't shocking because we saw them coming from miles away. So, the plot twist wasn't twisting, but there were a lot of other plot twists that were hitting the right point. So I don't know if I would recommend the book in general, but as I said, my buddy read girls and I can't wait to read book 2 that will be published in April next year. Daphne Perry revealed that not long ago, and I can't wait to continue the story about Odessa and to find out if we have more POVs of the Guardian in book 2, because we had only one chapter of his POV in Shield of Sparrows. And please give me more of that. Also, fingers crossed for some of the other characters that they are still alive, because we had a big fight scene and it is not clear if everyone survived. I don't want to go into detail about that because I don't want to spoil you, but my fingers are crossed that some of these people will survive. Some other people, they can die. I'm okay with that. We will see. I have to wait now until April to continue, but for now, I am on track with this series, and that means we are now at the end of this video. So let's do a little recap of this episode. We left the last episode with 33 series that I need to continue. Then we had one new release, the third book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, and I started two new series. So the Villains of Lore series with Blood of Hercules and the Shield of Sparrows series with Shield of Sparrows. So I had to add 3 series to that number, which means we are now at 36 series. But I also am on track with Shield of Sparrows. I DNF'd Blood of Hercules, so the Villains of Lore series. I finished Love Arranged, so finished the Lakefront Billionaire trilogy. And for another video, I finished the Windy City series. So already 4 series down. But I finished another series, the Hunter series by Michelle Raven. So 5 series down, which means we are now at 31. And surprise, I've checked my series list and decided to DNF 2 more series. The first one is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. I've read book 1 and 2 last year, but they were just okay. And I don't think book 3 and 4 will be better than that, which means I'm not that interested into reading these books. So I decided to DNF at this point. And I will also DNF the SEAL Team 12 series by Marlis Melton. I've read 3 of these books. I had one book left on my TBR, which is book 5 of 6. I've never bought book 4 and book 6, but I took one evening and started book 4 on my e-reader because it was included in one of my subscription services, and realized pretty quickly that I'm not that interested anymore into reading about Navy SEALs and war in Afghanistan or Iraq. And we started with the situation in Afghanistan, which made my decision pretty easy to DNF this series. So, all in all, my number of series that I want to continue went down to 29. So, this was a very, very successful episode of the series, and I'm super happy with this result because let's remind, I want to get this number down to 25 by the end of the year. And there are a few releases upcoming, especially in November. So it will be still a challenge to get this number down to 25, even if today I just need to read 4 more series to reach this goal. But I think there are 5 or 6 more new releases in series. So I will need to add them to this number at some point. I'm still motivated to reach my goal, and that is the most important part of it. But with that, we are now at the end of this episode. Please tell me in the comments if you have read any of the books that I've read in this vlog. Like this video if you wanna, follow my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!